Hey guys, it's Rob with Elite Flexibility. Today is the first video of 3 talking about hamstring stretches and why we use the straddle and why we never use this collapsed leg. Never use this. This video might be long. There's a lot of moving parts to the straddle, so if it's too much, just go to my Instagram, Elite Flexibility. You'll be able to pick up a couple tips there. But we're going to go through why we stretch like this and how this affects other positions, how it affects our jiu-jitsu game, really. This seems more realistic to jiu-jitsu because I have an open guard, I can do sweeps, it doesn't matter what guard I play, I can have this hip movement when I stretch from a straddle that I don't have here. Why? Extended, both legs are out. Feet are vertical and toes are pointed back in dorsiflexion. This is the most important thing in this video. If you take one thing away, it's this position. No matter if I go left, middle, or right, my feet do not move. That is the most important. I can't stress this enough because this is going to allow you to stretch for a shorter period of time, but become more flexible. Now the stretching we're doing today is for after training, not before. Maybe later on down the road, I'll do one for like before with dynamic and ballistic stretching. But for right now, we're going to concentrate on after training, after you're done. So the straddle, legs out, toes up, feet pointed back. Whatever your max is, you're going to decrease it. So I never want to do my max right off the bat because more than likely what's going to happen is my knees are going to start to bend. It's just too much pressure. The tension that's created from the straddle is something that I cannot find in this. It's the same way if you lay on your back and you keep one leg up and then you bend this knee, the tension is gone. I can do this all day. The moment this drops, I feel the tension come back. So it's the same principle. I want to make sure the tension is always there and I have very slow movements and my breath control is extremely important. I don't want to use my mouth. I like to only use my nose, and you have 2 different variations of breathing. Inhale, say 4 seconds. We'll use 4. Inhale 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. Or inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. Never using my mouth. I want to calm my breathing, especially if it's after training. I want my heart rate to come back down, and it's going to allow me to stretch in a much more controlled manner. So let's start. I'm going to isolate the left side. This is remaining the same. What I want to do is I want to bend from my hip and I want to face my leg. So now my nose is over my knee. My knee, I have to find the middle long ways. After I find the middle of my knee, my nose belongs right over the middle. I want to make sure that I'm only bending from my hip and not rounding my back. So if you can only go this far, that's okay. You always do less when it comes to the straddle. Eventually you'll be able to have the mobility to do it, but don't push it. My nose is over the middle of my knee or the lateral side of my knee, so the outside. I don't want it here towards the middle because what you see all the time is this. Leg collapse, grab the top of the foot, people's head, and they bounce. Well, if my weight is taking me forward, I don't have the isolation on my hamstring that I need. And bouncing is not a good idea. So let's take this back. If my nose is over the middle of my knee, now I have all the weight in my hamstring. I'm going to put my opposite hand above the patella. I'm never going to touch the knee itself. I want to grab the outside of the foot. I find the pinky and I want to pull here. So I have my nose over my knee, other hand keeping my leg straight right above the knee, not touching the knee itself, and I'm going to grab the outside of the foot. Then I want to be able to drop and breathe. This is going to give you the best isolation for the hamstring, but it's also going to hit 2 other muscle groups for most people. I'll feel it on the medial, like groin, adductor area, and then I'll feel it on the opposite side, lower back. So it makes more sense and much more advantageous for me if I'm going to have a certain amount of time to stretch that I'm hitting multiple muscle groups rather than doing one muscle group that more than likely isn't even the proper one. So when I'm stretching here, I grab the outside, I breathe. I want to hold it for about 30 seconds. You could do 2, maybe 3 reps. But the tension that's created, I always focus on this opposite leg to make sure it doesn't deviate. I only have a certain amount of time, so I want to maximize the potential of every stretch individually. It's just like jiu-jitsu. If you're doing a move and you're not using an arm or a leg, so you're down to 2 or 3 limbs, then you're probably not doing that move properly. But what happens if you can only go here? This is your straddle right now. Don't get discouraged. Every night for 15 minutes, put your back against the wall. Make sure your shoulders and lower back are touching. Text, read a book, play with the kids, watch TV. Whatever you have to do, make this a nightly ritual that you sit here. This is going to help your lower back and your hips when you're not on the mat. Because a lot of people have lower back pain, and it all stems, for most people, stems from the hamstrings. And the hamstrings carry a lot of the tension, especially for men since we're hamstring dominant. So if you can't touch your toes and you can only go this far, it's completely okay. Just make sure that I'm trying to make a conscious effort of having my nose and knee aligned. So if my nose is only over my quad, that's fine. If I can go this far, that's fine. Just do not let this deviate, because that'll take all the tension away. I need to have this tension. When I exit out of a straddle, I always bring my feet together, and then I bend my knees. Then I get up. Sometimes when you're sitting there, femur in the pelvis, when you try to bring it in, if you just go from here and you try to get up, it hits a nerve. Easy way to rectify that, bring it together, then up. You shouldn't have that problem. Now, one last thing to consider. If you have lower back or hip issues, do you walk with your feet straight, or do you have external or internal rotation? This is a big problem in jiu-jitsu. I mean, I can see guys walking on one side of the arena. I don't need to see their face. I know who they are just by their walk. And those people usually have the worst back and hips. So see, when you're walking, are my feet forward? When I stand, are my feet forward? When you stand is probably going to be the easiest way to catch this, because we shift to one side. We shift to one hip. That throws off our shoulders, throws off our neck. It all starts with the feet. The feet are number one. Feet need to stay straight in front while we walk. If you can change that, a lot of these minor issues will start to go away. Your jiu-jitsu will become better. You'll be more fluid. Flexible is one thing, but just having discomfort and pain all day, that's another. I don't want to have back pain all day. So stretch from the straddle. Next week we're going to go over why I don't use a band, why I don't use a towel. I'm never pulling. Oh, and don't do this. This is not my hamstring. This is great if I want a nice stretch here, the lat, but don't cross grip. None of this stuff. It's only same side. Left hand, left foot. If you have any questions, put in the comments below.